Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
6 o'clock in a Storm Team 6 alert day as the threat of severe weather returns to central Indiana. A good chunk of the state under the enhanced risk for severe weather. We'll break down the timing and the threats coming up.
Through free one-on-one business coaching and access to loan capital, BOI will help small business owners and entrepreneurs navigate the uncertainty this pandemic has caused.
Mayor Joe Hogg said announcing a new partnership to provide emergency relief to businesses.
We're trying to do this social distancing and stay in our homes and be apart from one another. It's in an interesting way bringing us all together in ways that we never have been before, but virtually, of course.
An Indianapolis woman is pairing up people who need assistance with people who are ready to volunteer their time. We'll show you how you can get involved.
If you don't have dumbbells, you can really use anything else that has weight.
With gyms closed across the city, we're working for you this morning with tips on how you can stay active while you're stuck at home.
All right, it is here on our Thursday, and we want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana at 6 o'clock.
We do want to send things over to meteorologist Todd Clausen today. Todd, it's foggy out there, and we might see some severe weather later today.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot going on in this forecast. As you mentioned, our immediate concern, especially if you do take to the roadways, is going to be visibility. And Lauren's going to show you some traffic cameras in just a second with that reduced visibility. Quarter mile in Bloomington, as well as Muncie, 3/4 of a mile in Fort Wayne. So virtually all of Interstate 69 kind of locked in with some fog here this morning. It's not as bad right now in the metro area, but as you cross the miles off, if you have to commute this morning, just know that the clouds are in place, kind of a damp feel. No substantial rainfall, though, this morning. This is what we have to wait for later on this afternoon. That's going to arrive as we get closer to the noon hour with some very, very heavy rainfall that will be heading our way. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s right now. The 50s will continue to overspread the area and eventually will be in the 60s later on this afternoon, so it turns into a very mild day for us. But here comes that heavy rainfall during the afternoon hours. And this is not severe. This is just plain old heavy rain, which could cause some localized flooding. Once that moves out later on this evening as the cold front starts to approach, that's when we ramp up the severe threat. But look at these high temperatures by the midnight hour. Many locations tonight will be right around 70 degrees. Lauren.
All right, Todd, you mentioned the fog out there this morning. I want to take you up to Carmel, where reduced visibility can be seen here from our camera. This is US 31, a little south of 116th Street. You can barely see anything from our camera here. So use caution, use the low beams. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated if there are any delays for your Thursday commute.
Federal, state, and city officials are working to help curb the economic crisis caused by the coronavirus. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb is scheduled to speak today over the latest impacts to the Hoosier state. Right now, Indiana has a total of 39 confirmed cases. 9 more were announced yesterday from Fayette, Hamilton, Hendricks, Jennings, Lake, Madison, Marion, and Clark counties. A Tippecanoe County resident who is currently visiting Florida has also tested positive for COVID-19. According to the county's health department, the patient started showing symptoms while in Florida and is now in stable condition.
Indianapolis-based pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is going to begin testing coronavirus samples to help speed up Indiana's results. The company announced that they would partner with the Indiana State Department of Health and the FDA for this testing. Company officials say they're also working to develop a drive-through program. Eli Lilly is not accepting money from government agencies, hospitals, or insurance companies in this process. The company's chairman says it is a contribution the company is making to this community.
Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler are all temporarily stopping production across North America. There are 4 GM plants in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Bedford, Marion, and Kokomo. GM and FCA have not given a time frame for when they may reopen. Ford is shutting theirs down through the end of the month. Union auto worker leaders confirm that employees will get unemployment benefits plus about 88% of their normal base pay. Honda has also announced they're closing their plants through the end of the month. That includes their plant in Greensburg.
City governments are stepping up to help workers impacted by the outbreak. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogg said announcing that the Indy Chamber is working to offer more resources to give emergency assistance to small businesses. They're partnering to create a rapid response hub for business owners. Owners can go to response.indychamber.com to access these resources. The goal is to help business owners and entrepreneurs navigate the uncertainty this pandemic has caused, but the mayor admits this initiative can only do so much.
This effort alone is not nearly enough funding to fully address the emergency needs of our small business community. The business losses alone will be in the hundreds of millions.
Mayor Hogsett says that Indianapolis is in position to get federal funding through disaster loan assistance. He's encouraging small businesses to prepare and gather all documentation needed to apply for federal relief.
With most gyms and fitness facilities in Indiana being closed, a lot of us are finding it hard to stay active and maintain a healthy lifestyle while also social distancing. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with what you can do from the comfort of your own home. Hey, Kelsey.
Well, a lot of us right now are social distancing. Gyms are closed, but we have all this time at home and we still want to stay active, not only for our mental health, but also for our physical health. And I'm here with two exercise specialists from Hancock Wellness, and they're going to show us how we can do some workouts here in our own houses.
Yeah, so we're going to take you through just a few exercises. So we're going to start out with just an upper body exercise. So real simple, we're going to go into our push-up. So Cody's going to get down on the ground. Hands are right under his shoulders, feet are about shoulder width apart. He's going to control his chest down towards the floor, keeping his elbows in, pushing himself back up to the top, and going to repeat until he reaches close to failure. So that could be 10 reps for somebody, it could be 20 reps for somebody, but a little bit lighter weight, lighter resistance. Then we're going to move into a lower body exercise. So we're actually going to use the couch here. He's going to put his shoulder blades right at the edge. He's going to push through his heels. He's going to bring his hips up and squeeze his butt muscles at the top and then control back down. So this is a hip thrust. And then what I'm going to have Cody do, I'm going to have you bring one leg up, go single leg. So good way to kind of incorporate your glutes, your hamstrings, and a little bit of your quads. And then the very last piece, we're going to have just a full body exercise. So I'm going to give Cody these dumbbells here. If you don't have dumbbells, you can really use anything else that has weight. He's going to bring them to the top of his shoulders. He's going to squat down and then come up and press up overhead at the top. Just a good full body exercise, incorporating multiple muscle groups.
Perfect. And of course, you can use other pieces of equipment in your house, whether it be, milk jugs or cans of soup or anything like that. And of course, a lot of gyms right now are also offering online classes, whether it be on Facebook Live or through their app. So if you are someone who's already a member of a gym, you can of course utilize those. But if you're not, you can utilize these exercises that Cody and Erica gave us today. For now, send it back to you in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. People across central Indiana continue to step up and work together to help their fellow neighbors in need during this crisis. One Indianapolis woman is connecting people who need assistance with people who are ready to volunteer their time. Alicia Baker created an online sign-up sheet using zip codes to match residents. So far, more than 700 people across the city have signed up.
One of them I was really excited about was an older woman, and she was looking for someone to just check in on her and then possibly in the future deliver groceries. So I said, okay, well, we have this volunteer who signed up. Her name is so-and-so. And she's like, oh my gosh, I know her. I've seen her walk by with her dog. She's so nice. Oh, I'm so excited. So that's really the point of this whole thing, is that we're pairing neighbors with neighbors to not only support one another now, but also provide support in the future.
Baker says volunteers are working to be careful when they deliver groceries. They drop them off on the porch to eliminate contact. They also sanitize bags and boxes once they're dropped off. She is now working with others to create a list of resources.
Well, as school districts across Indiana adjust to e-learning, they're also finding ways to get food to those kids. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning. And Alyssa, we know you spoke with one district who's trying to do that task in a really unique way.
That's right, Lauren. Plainfield School District has around 35% of their students who depend on school for both breakfast and lunch meals on a daily basis. So they're trying to continue to cater to those kids as well as others who may need meals during this difficult time. That's why they're using their Quaker Break food truck. The food truck is now the mobile feeding unit for Plainfield Community School Corporation. It's a refurbished school bus that normally is used for a life skills class for high school students. Students learn customer service skills, counting change, and selling snacks and drinks. But with the COVID-19 impact, the bus wasn't being used. So now it's back on the streets, bridging the gap for families during this challenging time.
Sack lunches that include a breakfast for the next day to any student, pre-K through high school, anybody who needs it. It's free, no questions asked. You don't have to be providing assistance. It is for any student in Plainfield.
And the bus is one of 4 mobile feeding units the school district has out in the community. There are 17 stops total, and the bus system is going to continue this week and next week with that mobile feeding. They say that when they hit spring break, which is the following week, they're going to reassess if these sack lunch needs are going to continue. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Well, there are a lot of organizations and resources out there offering to help Hoosiers during this pandemic. You can find a list of that information and the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak anytime at our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus. In other news today, we have a Storm Team 6 alert day, so we have some things you need to watch out for today, Todd.
Yeah, we're in alert mode for several things here. First of which is visibility. You notice we're down below 1 mile in a lot of locations. Kokomo, Muncie over towards Portland. We're right at 1 mile in Frankfort. So we slide down to the south. It's not too much of an issue here in the metro area, but Bloomington to Bedford, so work your way along State Road 37 down there past Lake Monroe, visibilities are really reduced. So that's our first concern. Our next concern will be the potential for a lot of rainfall first and then severe weather. Noon to 5 p.m. periods of rain, heavy at times, non-severe though storms. This is just plain old rain, but the rain will be pretty steady. Once we get to this evening, 8 p.m. through 3 a.m., that's when we bring in isolated storms as a cold front starts to approach. This is also when we have the severe potential and also the threat of tornadoes. Be prepared. Have Storm Shield handy, as many of you may be sleeping as these storms arrive. And then there'll be some flooding concerns as well with the rain from yesterday, what we'll get for this first wave, and then the additional storms later on this afternoon. We'll break down the timeline for you in more detail coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. President Trump has signed a coronavirus relief bill into law. We'll tell you what's in it and how it could affect your family coming up.
Floors to your home, that too.
When severe weather threatens, conditions can change quickly. So it's important to know what actions you should take if a watch or warning is issued for your area. A severe thunderstorm or tornado watch means just that, to watch for changing weather conditions and possible severe weather. A watch is usually issued for several hours at a time and covers a large portion of the state. A warning, on the other hand, is issued when severe weather is likely to occur, typically within the next few minutes. A severe thunderstorm warning usually covers a small area, either part of a county or a small group of counties. That warning is issued when a storm has the potential to produce damaging winds and or large hail. And a tornado warning means that either a tornado has been spotted or the National Weather Service has detected one on radar. When a warning is issued, you need to put your severe weather action plan into place.
Kyle Mounts, thank you so much. A coronavirus relief package has been signed into law. This legislation comes after several detailed talks between House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the Trump White House. John Lawrence has more on how this will affect your family.
A helping hand for Americans dealing with the daily stress from the coronavirus pandemic.
The economy is strong, the foundation of it, Joe, but the reality is that there's certainly going to be people impacted in the short term, so we need to make sure that action is taken quickly to make sure that we're giving them the resources they need.
A relief package passed by the House was then approved by the Senate and signed into law by President Trump Wednesday.
I want to thank all Americans for pulling together, for coming together, for doing what they have to do. It's been incredible. It's been inspirational.
The legislation provides up to 2 weeks of paid leave for some workers. There's also a benefit limited to $200 per day for employees with relatives who are affected by the disease.
If there are going to be some of these corporate bailouts, we need to make sure workers and labor come first, that people are not laid off, that people's salaries are not cut.
Although some Senate Republicans were previously critical of the House's legislation, they stressed the need to get aid to the public.
Its imperfections will just make our more comprehensive package even more urgent.
The Senate is now working on a Phase 3 economic stimulus package related to the coronavirus outbreak. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, the Phase 3 relief plan would reportedly include direct payments to American families and help for industries and businesses affected by the outbreak. Senate Republicans say they plan to vote on that sometime next week.
Senator Bernie Sanders is back in his home state after another disappointing day on the campaign trail. The Democratic presidential candidate arrived in Burlington, Vermont last night. Earlier Wednesday, he said he is reassessing his campaign but does not plan on ending it at this point. This despite being increasingly behind his opponent opponent, former Vice President Joe Biden, when it comes to the delegate count. When asked about possibly quitting the race, Sanders sharply responded that he was focused on the coronavirus, calling it a global crisis. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, President Donald Trump's only competitor has dropped out of the race. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld ended his campaign Wednesday. His decision came after it was clear the president had enough delegates to win the 2020 Republican nomination. In a letter to supporters, Weld said he was suspending his campaign, but he was not suspending his commitment to the nation. Todd.
All right, it's a Storm Team 6 alert day for you. Several things going on. We had some patchy fog this morning, and then we'll also highlight the potential for some heavy rain this afternoon and the threat of severe weather later on this evening into the overnight hours. So we could be in alert mode for a lot of things, but we'll first highlight the severe potential, even though that it's a lot later in the day. And the Storm Prediction Center has a good chunk of central Indiana under the enhanced risk of severe weather. It includes Indianapolis, Bloomington, Terre Haute, the rest of central Indiana, and this yellow color, that is a slight risk. So as you look at the scale, enhanced is one step before moderate and high risk, 2 steps before high risk. Yesterday we were under the marginal risk, so the severe weather threat has ramped up. The main threat by far would be damaging wind with these storms as they move in. Can't rule out the chance of some hail, and also can't rule out the chance of some isolated tornadoes, although the tornado is probably the lowest on the spectrum of threats, but still definitely going to be a possibility later on this evening. Right now, Storm Team 6 radar is completely quiet. The clouds, they are in place across the area, and there's some visibility issues, as I mentioned. Maybe a little bit of patchy drizzle, but we're not expecting any heavy rainfall this morning. That changes, though, right around the noon hour as this wave of rain will start to make its way into the area. This is a warm front that's lifting to the north, and that's going to usher in some very mild air for later on this afternoon and this evening. In fact, our high temperature today is probably right around midnight, and that's going to be close to 70 degrees. So this warm front comes through during the afternoon hours with all this heavy rainfall. This will just be rain, though, with some localized flooding potential, but not severe. And that will move through once we get to about 4 or 5 o'clock. Once we get past about 6, 7 o'clock, that's when we bring in the opportunity for some isolated storms to start to develop across the area. And it's the isolated storms later on this afternoon rather than that mass cluster of rain that will bring the potential for severe weather. I should mention this evening, not this afternoon. This afternoon is just plain old rain, but there's a lot going on. By any means, throughout the entire day, you need to be prepared for the rainfall and then the threat of severe storms. This band of rain you see, the timestamp on this is 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's the actual cold front that's coming through, and that's what's going to start to cool us off. The 50s, though, will continue to overspread the area from south to north. We get up into the 60s later on this afternoon and evening. Some of you may even touch 70 degrees before midnight, but our focus really will be this afternoon and this evening on the heavy rainfall that'll head our way. Yesterday, we saw quite a bit of rainfall. We'll get this next round this afternoon and then tonight. So localized flooding will be a concern as we go into the evening and overnight hours. Keep that in mind as well. And then for Saturday and Sunday, lots of sunshine in the forecast. Much colder, though, with highs only in the 40s before warmer temperatures return next week. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at your commute. This is over on the west side. Our in-dot traffic camera at I-465 and West 10th Street. You can see traffic here still pretty quiet this morning, but traveling up to speed. At 6:21, talk about getting away from it all. Actor and musician Jared Leto says that he just found out about the novel coronavirus pandemic. He tweeted Tuesday that he was on a silent 12-day meditation in the desert. He says he had no phone or communication with anyone. So when he came back from isolation, he realized things had changed a lot. In a statement, he says that he walked into a very different world. He also wrote that he hopes that his fans are safe, and he's sending positive energy to all. Leto's next project is a starring role in the movie Moribus.
Grocery store shelves are still bare as many hurry to stock up on cleaning supplies. After the break, what the stores are doing to try to get those products back on sale. We'll be right back.
A pussycat on price.
Welcome back. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Here's a live look on I-465 and West 10th Street. Overall, traffic's been pretty quiet this morning. However, as you're heading out the door this Thursday, you will need to watch out for the fog. You can see a little bit of it here from our traffic camera. Of course, we'll keep you updated.
So, Lauren, over the past few days, we've seen a lot of images coming out of retirement homes and senior citizen facilities with their visitors wanting to visit them, but finding unique ways to do so. Well, this is another one of those stories. A big dog in Texas used to bringing smiles as he visits senior citizens on regular visits. Well, because of coronavirus precautions, Tonka, the Great Dane, can no longer go inside, but he is not being stopped. He and his owner, Courtney, are making sure to stop by and say hi from the windows. They say they're going to continue the visits until they are safe to enter again. Oh, he probably misses those rubs, though.
Oh, all the belly rubs. He's like, this is a little weird. I don't know why we're doing this. Several distilleries in the U.S. have switched from making booze to making hand sanitizer to meet the increased demand. Distilleries in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, they're all making and producing these homemade sanitizers. We can tell you here locally, Hotel Tango Whiskey recently switched over their operations as well. The goal is to help at-risk populations. The owners say they plan to ship their first batch as donations to nonprofit organizations. And that's so cool.
It is very cool. Celebrities across the world are breaking down barriers by hosting Instagram Live parties as people practice social distancing. John Legend and wife Chrissy Teigen hosted 2 watch parties Tuesday after being inspired by Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. The couple sang songs, answered questions, and even gave a cooking demonstration. Social media users say the watch parties provide a much-needed break from reality.
Is she in a towel there?
Maybe. You know what? It's Chrissy Teigen. She does what she does.
Yep.
Yes. And
so funny.
John Legend singing there. Todd Clausen going to be singing in the rain later today.
It's an alert day.
We're all going to be singing in the rain later on this afternoon. That is a Storm Team 6 alert day. This morning is dry. There's some patchy fog out there, but by the time we get to the noon hour, the rain becomes steady for most of us, heavy at times. And then this evening, that is when the severe threat is going to arrive in central Indiana. So even though there is the talk of severe weather, whether the enhanced risk, the first wave of rain comes through as just plain old rainfall between noon and 4. And that rain is now approaching St. Louis. That will continue to make its march here towards central Indiana. The good news is, in all of this, is you do get an opportunity later on this afternoon when it's not raining. Temperatures are starting to warm. We're in the 40s and 50s right now. Eventually, high temperatures, Lauren, by the time we get closer to the midnight hour, will be close to 70 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Well, we've seen those empty store shelves at groceries as many people are stocking up on cleaning supplies and food during the coronavirus outbreak. So our John Matarese finds out what those stores are doing to get the inventory back.
For the past 2 weeks, grocery shelves have been stripped bare by shoppers hoarding toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products, and more. So we wanted to know, what are the stores doing to get those supplies back? After a week-long frenzy, things are starting to get better in stores. That's the message from the nation's supermarkets, including Walmart, Kroger, Giant, and Publix, that are now limiting their hours and rushing in extra paper products.
We've got plenty of food. We've got plenty of things coming in.
Aaron Rolfs tells us Kroger stores are shutting down their meat and seafood counters and salad bars, but nothing's being removed.
All of that product is going to be wrapped into trays and put out on the shelves.
And stores are now placing limits on more items, not just cleaning products.
Toilet paper, cleaning supplies, water, eggs and milk. And really it's just to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to purchase things.
So please limit what you buy so others have a chance to shop too, that way you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
Thank you, John. For more cost-saving tips, you can visit our ideas section and the money section of the IndyChannel.com on our website.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Thursday morning, here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. There are now at least 39 cases of COVID-19 in the Hoosier State. Later today, we expect to learn more from Governor Holcomb about the state's response to the coronavirus. The governor and state health commissioner Christina Box are speaking at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We will have live coverage on RTV6 and the IndyChannel.com.
The kickoff to the month of May, as we know it, now officially canceled. Every year, thousands of people take part in the 500 Festival Mini Marathon marathon racing through Indianapolis in early May. Organizers say this year's many events will move to virtual races. If you're registered, you'll get information on how to participate.
For the first time in 124 years, spring is here early. Only by a few days, though. Typically, the spring equinox happens on March 20th or 21st, but this year it's happening today on the 19th. Weather experts say it involves leap years adding up over time. The equinox is the exact moment the sun's rays shine directly on the equator. That will happen at 11:50 tonight, and there will be nearly 12 hours of daylight today. But unfortunately, here in central Indiana, we aren't going to see much sunshine.
Yeah, that's right. Todd Clausen is standing by on a Storm Team 6 alert day. And Todd, we need the good news about spring finally being here officially, but not the best news in the forecast.
Yeah, you know, we'll have the springtime warmth today. By the time we get to this evening, temperatures could be approaching 70 degrees. But unfortunately, as you mentioned, no sunshine and the potential here for severe weather, not only in central Indiana, but across much of the Midwest today. There is the severe weather risk. So we're dry this morning with just some patchy fog, which you'll see on our traffic cameras. Lauren's going to show you in just a second. But our rain chances ramp up by late morning throughout the afternoon hours, just like yesterday. It's a heavier and steadier rain. And then this evening, our rain chances will diminish on a wide-scale basis, but that's when we are expecting isolated storms to start to develop across the area. The clouds firmly in place already. The first wave of the heavier rain that arrives later on this morning now making its way closer to the St. Louis area, and that's what's going to arrive here by 11 or 12 o'clock this afternoon. So with the threat of severe weather, Storm Shield, a great tool to have. One for even the storms aren't severe, you can track with the interactive radar the rain moving in, but then you can set the alerts to your location. And with the severe weather coming in later tonight and into the overnight hours, you may be sleeping. This will wake you up. It serves as your weather radio. Best of all, it is free. You can download that from the App Store for your iPhone and or your Android. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. And you mentioned the fog and reduced visibility out on the roads. And here's a look at it up in Fishers. Use caution here if you're traveling on I-69, either northbound or southbound. You can see the fog out there here at 96th Street. Overall traffic is still moving along up to speed. Less traffic out there as several people are staying home and schools are closed around our area. So that should help with the fog and reduce visibility hopefully this morning.
Businesses are closing because of the COVID-19 pandemic. That means more Hoosiers will soon be seeking unemployment benefits. If you need to file for unemployment, the state says you should not go to Work One offices. You can apply online at unemployment.in.gov, or you can call one of the two numbers on your screen, 1-800-891-6499 or 317-232-7560. You should be prepared for long wait times, possibly very long. And if you're not sure if you're eligible for benefits, the Department of Workforce Development has this advice.
It's really best to go ahead and file, and like I said, read the questions carefully, answer them honestly, and let us make the decision about eligibility.
The state says the average unemployment payment has been $296 a week.
The coronavirus outbreak has other stores hiring thousands of people, especially grocery stores. Retailers like Kroger and Meijer need temporary and seasonal employees to help keep up with demand. The CEO of Meijer says many of the open positions will include stocking duties. Kroger is also promoting immediate openings, and they say they want to help people whose current jobs have been suspended. Supermarkets are one of the few businesses that are allowed to operate normally under new restrictions aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19. And as we've shown you, most are having trouble keeping those stocked shelves.
With hundreds of thousands of kids unexpectedly out of school, districts are getting a little creative with how they're supporting families at this time. One local school district is providing meals in a way you can't miss if you're driving by. Our Alyssa Donovan has all the details. Alyssa, tell us about how they're going about this in a pretty unique way.
Yeah, you know what? This is a great story. There are about 5,500 students in the Plainfield School District, and some of those kids depend on school for their daily breakfast and lunch, which is why the school district got creative, and they found a way to get that food to their students, any student who needs it during this time.
This is the Quaker Break food truck. There you go, buddy. There's yogurt in there, too. We are serving peanut butter and Uncrustables, and with the allergies, it's ham and turkey, cheese, like a Subway sandwich. There you go, my dear. There you go. Enjoy. And Pop-Tarts or yogurt for tomorrow morning's breakfast. And they get cookies or chips.
The friendly faces in the window, Leanne and Tammy, both cooks for Plainfield Community School District.
Oh, I love this thing. We love the bus. Yes, we love the bus.
You know, it was sitting there at the bus garage, and so why not put it to use serving meals?
The repurposed school bus is typically used as part of a life skills program for high school students.
They're learning customer service skills, how to greet somebody when they approach them.
But as COVID-19 causes closures, it's now the mobile feeding unit for Plainfield Community Schools.
Hi, guys. Everybody get one?
Families adjusting to e-learning, grateful for the food and a reason to step outside.
Sat at the kitchen table this morning. The lesson plan for my son was there a little after 8 o'clock. And we began right away. He's enjoying it, and we take a break about now. And
the bus is one of 4 vehicles circulating the district to feed thousands of kids stuck at home.
Thank you. You're welcome. Come back to see us tomorrow, okay? Okay.
But this one is definitely the most eye-catching.
There we go. I'll be over there. Next stop.
And they will continue passing out sack lunches through Friday this week and then Monday through Friday next week. Then Plainfield School District goes on spring break. At that time, they will reassess if they need to continue doing this sack lunch service for the community. If you have a kid in the Plainfield School District, you can check on our website, theindychannel.com, to see the schedule for the mobile feeding units. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. It is 6:35. Several churches down in Morgan County are coming together to meet the needs right now of families in that community. Churches in Mission is an organization that partners area churches to provide food and hygiene products for the underserved in Morgan County. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, the need for those items is great. Right now, the organization is operating 2 drive-thrus for any families in the community who need support. We stopped by their location on Indiana Street in downtown Mooresville, where volunteers loaded carts full of groceries and helped people in need load their cars.
We're seeing a major increase in our demand for what we are providing, the resources that we have. So we're trying to ask everyone here in the community to come alongside us.
So if you're a person in need right now in Morgan County, you can find more information on their hours and locations right now at theindychannel.com/coronavirus. And if you're able to donate or volunteer, we also posted information on how to connect with this mission.
States have faced a shortage of COVID-19 tests for weeks now, but that may be starting to change. And the country going through its own crisis is the major reason why.
And the rush is on to help Americans who will be struggling soon. Congress working quickly on a bill that could mean cash for you. The time right now is 6:37. Stick around. We'll be right back after this short break.
Must take 3 years to pay. Only at Ashley Home Store.
This morning, the U.S. has a better ability to test people for COVID-19 thanks to a country going through its own coronavirus crisis right now. The national security news site Defense One is reporting the Air Force flew 500,000 swabs for COVID-19 tests from Italy to Memphis, Tennessee. Italy has universal health care for its residents and offered the extra swabs despite an exploding number of COVID-19 cases, leading to almost 3,000 deaths in that country. Many states in the U.S. have complained that the federal government was too slow to provide tests in January and February as the initial COVID-19 cases were diagnosed.
The coronavirus has reached Capitol Hill now as 2 members of Congress have now tested positive. And with much of the nation shutting down, the economy is also taking a big hit. ABC's Alex Prochet tells us lawmakers and the Trump administration are now taking big steps to help Americans.
Of the thousands of U.S. patients with COVID-19, 2 are now members of Congress. Florida Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart and Utah Congressman Ben McAdams. The attending physician saying other members who made contact with the 2 are low risk. This comes as the Senate passed a relief bill Wednesday. Now, lawmakers moving into phase 3, finding ways to quickly put money in the hands of Americans.
I view it as in a sense, a wartime president.
The president is pushing Congress to approve a massive $1 trillion-plus economic recovery package. It could include $500 billion in direct payments to Americans, 2 rounds of checks sent out on April 6th and May 18th. $300 billion for small businesses, and a $50 billion bailout for the hard-hit airline industry. But any deal would have to be worked out with Democrats. And now the president is prepared to invoke the Defense Production Act, a Korean War-era law, allowing the president to direct American industries to produce critically needed medical equipment and protective gear.
We are all in this together, and we'll come through together. It's the invisible enemy.
Doctors are warning they expect to see a surge in cases over the next 4 to 5 days as more tests come back, but say critical protective gear is running low and putting them in danger.
I've got my mask for today right here, and I'm guarding it with my life because it could be my life.
New York City's mayor saying the president's actions coming far too late.
Now, President Trump at this point is the Herbert Hoover of his generation. There's a massive national crisis going on, and he is consistently late and very, marginal in what he does.
Senator Mitch McConnell says Republicans will move at, quote, warp speed to craft that $1 trillion economic stimulus package, saying the deadline is this morning. Alex Brachet, ABC News, Washington.
All right, it's Storm Team 6 Alert Day as we are dealing with visibility issues here across central Indiana. First and foremost, quarter mile in Bloomington as well as Muncie. Not as bad here in the metro area, but the real focus on the forecast is later today compared to right now. First, we're going to get this wave of rain that's going to make its way towards central Indiana. This arrives by 11, 12 o'clock across the area with some heavier rainfall that will be with us throughout the afternoon hours, but that will be non-severe. Then a second round of storms heads our way late tonight into tomorrow morning, and that's when we get into the potential for strong to severe storms across the area. Wind is by far the main threat as these storms will make their way through the area. Hail and even the tornado threat, though, at an elevated medium level. Places like Indianapolis, Terre Haute, Bloomington, and Columbus under the enhanced risk for severe weather by the Storm Prediction Center. The rest of central Indiana under the slight risk. We'll time it all out for you using TrueCast coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Most gyms are closed right now, but we still need to stay active while we're social distancing. Next, our Kelsey Anderson is working for you this morning with tips that will get you moving while you're stuck at home.
And they say they aren't letting their coaches down. Coming up, a story of a championship football team trying to keep up with their spring workouts while they're out of school. It is 6:43 here on your Thursday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
At SteelDealers.com.
Well, most gyms in Indiana are closing due to the coronavirus pandemic, and that means you may be having a hard time to find a way to stay active and maintain your healthy lifestyle. So our Kelsey Anderson is joining us this morning with what you can do to stay in shape from the comfort of your own home.
Well, a lot of us right now are social distancing. Gyms are closed, but we have all this time at home and we still want to stay active, not only for our mental health, but also for our physical health. And I'm here with two exercise specialists from Hancock Wellness, and they're going to show us how we can do some workouts here in our own houses.
Yeah, so we're going to take you through just a few exercises. So we're going to start out with just an upper body exercise. So real simple, we're going to go into our push-up. So Cody's going to get down on the ground. Hands are right under his shoulders, feet are about shoulder width apart. He's going to control his chest down towards the floor, keeping his elbows in, pushing himself back up to the top, and going to repeat until he reaches close to failure. So that could be 10 reps for somebody, it could be 20 reps for somebody, but a little bit lighter weight, lighter resistance. Then we're going to move into a lower body exercise. So we're actually going to use the couch here. He's going to put his shoulder blades right at the edge. He's going to push through his heels. He's going to bring his hips up and squeeze his butt muscles at the top and then control back down. So this is a hip thrust. And then what I'm going to have Cody do, I'm going to have you bring one leg up, go single leg. So good way to kind of incorporate your glutes, your hamstrings, and a little bit of your quads. And then the very last piece, we're going to have just a full body exercise. So I'm going to give Cody these dumbbells here. If you don't have dumbbells, you can really use anything else that has weight. He's going to bring them to the top of his shoulders. He's going to squat down and then come up and press up overhead at the top. Just a good full body exercise, incorporating multiple muscle groups.
Perfect. And of course, you can use other pieces of equipment in your house, whether it be, milk jugs or cans of soup or anything like that. And of course, a lot of gyms right now are also offering online classes, whether it be on Facebook Live or if they're through their app. So if you are someone who's already a member of a gym, you can of course utilize those. But if you're not, you can utilize these exercises that Cody and Erica gave us today. For now, send it back to you in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. The coronavirus outbreak has not only closed school, it's also shut down their athletic programs. That's why the Mount Vernon High School football team is getting creative with their workouts to stay in shape. The Marauders won their first ever regional title last year, and they're looking to keep the momentum going. To stay on top of their game, players are finding some traditional and not so traditional ways to work out, and they're sending videos of those workouts to their coach.
The one that really got me going was our punter, Joel. You know, he had the one video of him air squatting the cinder blocks, and then there's another video of him attempting to like power clean the front loader that was off of a truck. So he was picking up the front loader and pushing it down, and I'm watching it going, man, this is textbook.
With spring break and a coronavirus hiatus of at least 2 weeks, Mount Vernon isn't due back in school until April 13th, but it looks like the football players will be ready when it's time to come back. And we are getting you ready for severe weather. Todd, let's talk a little bit about what we can expect today.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on today, and that's why it's a Storm Team 6 alert day. First and foremost, we have some visibility issues across parts of the area. You notice visibility, Muncie, Portland, down towards the metro area, down below 1 mile, Bloomington at 0.3 of a mile as well. So just use a little bit of caution on the roadways, especially highlight Interstate 69. That seems to be one of the interstates that's been the hardest hit. And then there's just this little pocket in and around the Bloomington-Bedford area, which includes the southern portion of I-69 and State Road 37 as well. The visibility will kind of be with us here as an issue for the next couple hours. The storm threat is actually late tonight. It's really 8 o'clock onward into the overnight hours. But I want to talk about it because it's our first real decent chance of severe weather this spring season. The main threat would be damaging wind, hail, and isolated tornadoes. Storm Prediction Center has Indianapolis down to Bloomington over to Seymour under the enhanced risk for severe weather. The rest of central Indiana is under the slight risk of severe weather. No threat of rainfall with the exception of maybe a little bit of patchy drizzle for the next few hours. So this morning there's that damp feel, the visibility issues, but you can get outside for a walk through the neighborhood. The clouds are in place. It's not going to be a bright day for us by any means, but this is a warm front that will be moving into central Indiana, and with it will come a lot of rainfall throughout the course of the afternoon hours. The rain kind of moves in late morning. Here we are 2 o'clock. Rain heavy at times throughout the afternoon, but this will not be the severe portion of this storm. This will move off, and once that does, we'll have to start to watch out for some isolated individual storms throughout the evening hours and into the overnight hours that will have the potential to bring some severe weather to central Indiana. As far as the risks go, damaging wind is the main threat. Hail's probably secondary. Tornado threat is probably third on the list. But anytime you're starting to get into this 10% category for tornado risk, that's when you start running into some issues. Terre Haute over towards the Rockville area, down towards Bloomington. It's a lower risk for the metro area, but still definitely going to be a possibility. And now as far as tornadoes go at night, they're more difficult to see, and Kyle Mounts put this together. They're harder to see. Many of you are sleeping, so it's imperative you have a weather radio or Storm Shield app that'll kind of get you through the overnight hours here with the tornado threat. It would wake you up if a tornado warning was issued. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s right now. Will climb up into the 60s later on this afternoon for your high temperatures across the area. And then tomorrow, the severe threat will come to an end by about 3 o'clock in the morning. After that, temperatures will fall with the passage of the cold front. The weekend is quiet but cooler with temperatures that will be in the 40s. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much for keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. No issues over here on the west side, I-70 west of Lyndhurst Drive. You can see traffic starting to pick up a little bit there this morning. Visibility in this spot looks okay. We'll continue to monitor any issues this morning and keep you posted.
It was supposed to let you stay inside your car when you filled up, but it didn't exactly go as planned. Next, it's Throwback Thursday, and the gas pump of the future that got buried in the past. We'll be right back.
Visit the Hiring Hoosiers job board.
Well, it It is Throwback Thursday time, and with the COVID-19 outbreak, we're being told that if we have to put gas in our cars, be sure to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer to avoid picking up the virus at the pump.
But Lauren, that wouldn't have been a problem if this gadget would have caught on. When it first came out, the smart pump from Shell was supposed to be the future of filling up. But the technology quickly found itself running on empty. The robotic gas pump would allow people to fill up without ever getting out of their vehicles. As former RTV6 reporter Ray Cortopassi found out, there were some hoops you had to jump through to use the smart pump, and that may have led to its demise.
First, you sign up for a special gas cap and dashboard transmitter.
As he proceeds to the customer interface terminal, which is kind of like an ATM machine, just requests his grade of product. The robot reads the information off the tag, adjusts for that vehicle, and then fuels the car.
I have a little dog that goes crazy when I get out of the car, so it'd be a lot easier on her if I just stayed in the car and did it all from inside.
That's the old-fashioned way down there.
I mean, computers and robots are great, but when you're trying to trust it with a $10,000 car, I don't know. I just feel weird about it.
Well, the smart pump made its national debut at a station in Westfield back in March of 2000, but it did not make a splash, and by July of that year, it was gone. I love the idea of not having to get out of your car,
especially
to pump
during the
gas
winter time,
in the winter, or like right now, but this looks like a lot could go wrong.
Yes, a lot could go wrong very quickly, that's for certain. Well, today is one of those days you're not going to want to get out of the car, right, Todd?
No, you know, we're going to be dealing with heavy rainfall this afternoon. That's going to move in. The driest part of our day is here this morning. The rain becomes heavy at times this afternoon. That rain will not be severe. The severe threat will be closer to sunset and then into the morning hours. So make sure you stay with RTV6.
Thanks so much. We're back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic.
All your news throughout the days on the RTV6 app. We hope you have a good one.